Alright everyone, so today I wanted to share with you guys some really important information about the material shop, as well as some very big mistakes that are really easy to get into the habit of making that could easily be costing you millions of gold. And these are the kind of mistakes where doing it once might not necessarily cost you a lot, but it's really easy to get into the habit. And you might have been doing this all along, not even realizing it, and just spending tons of gold unnecessarily. So I wanted to kind of go through a breakdown of all the stuff that you can buy, whether it's worth it, give you some pointers, and really point out those very bad mistakes that can be very easy to get into the habit of. So let's get right to it. Very importantly, before you buy anything from the material shop or any other shops in a village though, is to be aware of the two 20% discounts that you can get that do both stack. So you can get a 40% discount from everything in the shops. The first one is going to end up coming from boss battles. And when you defeat the deathmatch for the corresponding village, so for Vanya, that would be melee of the phantasms, you're going to get a 20% hour-long discount to everything in all of the village shops. Now, it doesn't have to be your boss as well. You can actually still get this discount even if you defeat a friend's deathmatch as well. So that's 20% right there. And then the second one is going to come from the village donations. Now, the village donations right now, the maximum donation amount is 30,000, and that will get you, again, a 1 hour 20% discount that stacks with the deathmatch one, so 40% total. But a really cool thing about this as well is occasionally we'll get the village donation events where you can actually donate 1,000,000 gold to get different pendants. You can get an R, SR, and SSR pendant. So this maximum of 30,000 will actually go up to 1,000,000. So be aware of it. If you get into the habit of clicking the max button like I do, you might donate the 1,000,000 gold. That's not necessarily bad, but I say it because a lot of people just like to donate the 1,000,000 gold right away to get the pendants. And what you can actually do is save some money here, and instead of donating the 1,000,000 gold right away to get the pendants, you can continuously over a week-long period get your village discount buffs for 30,000 gold, and then, the last day you'll have already put in, 200,000 gold or so into the actual pendants, and at that point you'd spend the rest of the million. So you actually save a decent amount of gold and kind of knock out two birds with one stone by doing that. So something to be aware of if you didn't already know that. But anyway, that's the second 20% discount. So everything that you guys see is going to be 40% less than the price that you actually see in this video, because I do not have either of the discounts running right now. So now let's get into the material shop, and we're going to go through here based off of the village friendship level. So we'll start off with cooking ingredients because they unlock at village friendship level 1. And the question, is it worth buying these? Is it not worth buying them? I say absolutely yes. However, you do not want to make the mistake of just every single day going and buying everything out, because if you do that, what you're going to do is you're going to end up with a lot of ingredients that you don't actually need. They're going to be extra ingredients because you have certain bottleneck ingredients that you're going to use way more when it comes to cooking recipes. And I wanted to actually share with you guys kind of a way to understand that so you don't accidentally spend too much gold on ingredients that you don't need. So it's actually going to be easier to understand this in the actual tavern menu, where you can actually see the cooking menu here. And that very first ingredient that you saw there, the aged meat, that is the primary ingredient that you are going to need for all of the recipes that are that originate in Vanya. That's going to be the first ingredient that you need for all of those recipes. So if you have 9 recipes that come from Vanya, like we have right here, all of them, the first ingredient is going to use that aged meat. Now, we're going to skip the middle ingredient and go to the last one here, because the last 3 ingredients that you'll find in the material shop are also all going to be used in Vanya recipes. So all of them are going to use the aged meat, but then the last ingredient, you have 3 separate ones. So you have the bay leaf, and then 3 of the 9 recipes will use the bay leaf as the last ingredient. Then you have the sliced chicken matango, and then 3 of the 9 recipes will use that as the last ingredient. And you have the truffle, which 3 of the 9 ingredients will use that as the last one there. So already right off the bat, you can tell that the aged meat is actually the limiting ingredient, because this last one here, they separate them into 3 different ingredients for 3 different dishes each. But all 9 of the Vanya dishes are going to require one of these aged meats right here. So there's really no reason to ever have, for example, more bay leaves than there are to have more aged meats, because you'll always need more aged meats than you will for bay leaves. Now, it's this middle ingredient here, which is the slightly tricky one, because this is going to be not based off of the actual village itself. like I call these the secondary ingredients, and they're the ones in the middle. And some of them can come from Vanya, some of them don't come from Vanya. And it's always nice to have a big stock of these because, you know, different recipes will use, you know, many of these different types of ingredients. Like there are many recipes inside of Vanya and outside of Vanya that will use sugar as the middle ingredient. So anyway, let's actually go back to the vendor here so you can kind of see how they're laid out in the shop a little bit easier. The most important thing to really take away from that is the first ingredient, the aged meat, is the limiting factor. So, you know, it doesn't matter if you have a lot of everything else. If you don't have a lot of aged meats, then you won't be able to make a ton of recipes that originate in Vanya. So going back there, what I personally like to do is I like to stay organized with all my items, not just my materials and ingredients, but, you know, if I have a stack of aged meat, for example, there's absolutely no reason for me to ever buy more than one full stack of these last three ingredients right here, the bay leaf, the truffle, and the chicken matango, because I'm never going to use these more than the amount of aged meats that I have. So that's the first ingredient there. These last three ingredients are also always going to be used in Vanya recipes. And then it's these next ones here, the vegetables, the butter, and the herbs. These ones are kind of going to be that secondary middle ingredient. Some will be used in Vanya recipes, some will be used outside of Vanya recipes. And, you know, it's kind of up to you how many of these you like to have. If there's certain foods that you use more of them, just keep in mind what that secondary ingredient is, because you might need to keep a bigger stockpile of these. So you're going to save a lot of time as well. I love the fact that with the ingredients, you know, sure, it costs gold, but if I wanted to go out there and farm a billion different separate ingredients, I would have to be bouncing around all over the map. Whereas, you know, when I'm farming things like books, I could just sit and farm one particular thing and then go and buy all the different ingredients that I need. You just have to be aware, of course, that you can only buy 5 of each of these per day, and it's absolutely never worth using the diamond to actually refresh this shop. So anyway, that's the level 1 stuff right there. Now moving on to the level 2 stuff, and these are the actual completed food items. Is it worth buying these? Absolutely not. Very importantly, when you are actually cooking, it's going to require 3 ingredients, but you are always going to get a minimum of 3 dishes from those 3 ingredients. So you spend, 7,500 or 4,500 with those 20% discounts to get 3, 4, or 5 full dishes, depending on if you just get a success, super success, or ultra success. So you're paying, 7,500 or 4,500 with the discount, versus if you were to buy them from here, it would cost you 30, 40, or 50,000 gold. So it's way more expensive. It's absolutely inefficient. It's just not worth it, and I would stay away from this. This is like an emergency. Like if you need one food and you have to get out the door and leave, or you have to turn your phone off in a minute, okay, sure. But, absolutely not worth the value of what this stuff costs here. So stay away from the level 2 stuff. Now, level 3, this is really interesting here. So, materials. Now, some people will say materials are not worth buying. Some people will say they are worth buying. And think of it this way. The answer to this question is really how far along you are in the actual game. Because as you get further along in the game, you'll be able to farm gold quicker. And if you can farm gold quicker, then it's going to be worth it more to buy these actual ingredients. Like me, for example, with the half stamina book event, I can easily farm 1 million or so gold per hour. So the amount of gold that it costs to buy these ingredients and the amount of time that it saves me to have to go out there and individually bounce around the map to actually get these, it's going to be worth it. But very importantly, keep track of the actual prices that you see here. So you've got stuff for 20,000, and then you've got the ingredients here for 30,000. And then actually go to an actual boss battle and keep track of the ingredients that you'll see that can drop from the boss battle. So let's just look at this one right here, right? So you've got that one there, you've got the tusk, and then you've got the scale. And then if we actually go back to the village and take note of the price, it's important to know that you're going to end up with a lot more of the ingredients from boss battles than the ones that do not come from boss battles, because obviously you're going to be farming that a lot, especially when there is a half stamina event. So the stuff that costs cheaper is going to originate from the boss battle, so you probably don't need to buy as many of these. And if you start to run low, just kind of keep that at the back of your head that maybe the next time that there is a half stamina event for boss battles, you want to go and farm that chapter's boss battle. Now, the ones that are more expensive, these ones are not going to be farmable in the boss battle. You kind of have to go out of your way to farm another free quest to get these, and that's fine if that's what you want to do, but these ones are probably going to be the ones that you generally find yourself having less of because, you know, you're not going to be farming those outside quests as much as you're going to be farming the boss battles. But either way, very similar to the materials and everything that I talk about, make sure that you have the discount if you buy any of this stuff. Like looking at the price, a 40% discount would lower the stuff from 20,000 to 12,000 each, or the 30,000 stuff to 18,000 each. Just buying a couple of ingredients is automatically going to pay for the 30,000 gold friendship, or the village friendship buff. So absolutely worth it if you buy ingredients. All right, now moving on to level 4, and here we have the chalices. Is it worth buying these from the village? I say it's not. Now, it's going to be tempting earlier on in the game when you really just want to awaken all of your units, like you're so looking forward to it, and you just have a list of all the different units that you want to awaken. But trust me when I say these are going to start to pile up as you get further along into the game. And when you realize the amount of gold that it actually takes in order to make a 6-star chalice, even if you buy these for the actual discount, it's just not really worth it. I say when there's a half stamina boss battle event, not only are you farming chalices, you're also farming the actual ingredients for awakening, you're farming equipment for awakening stones and enhancement stones, and just the cost in gold for these versus how many it takes to make a 6-star chalice, the numbers just don't add up, and I say really try to avoid these as much as you possibly can. So you've got these ones that are the 3-star ones. Obviously, you can still lower them to a price of 12,000 with the discount, but still very expensive to make a 6-star. And then you got these 4-star ones here, which cost 100,000 gold, I guess 60,000 with the discount, and it's just not worth it at that point. So that's everything really in the actual villages, in the material shop, the things that you want to buy, you know, if you do buy them, kind of how you want to do so. And I'm really hoping that this video, I gave you guys enough information here to work with, and hopefully you learned some new stuff and you can use this information to avoid a lot of really big mistakes that I have also made as well. And I made these mistakes so that hopefully you guys don't have to. So if you enjoyed this video and you want more videos like this in the future, consider subscribing to the channel. Really appreciate all the support, everyone. Feel free to leave a quick like as well. I really do appreciate just the fact that we are almost at 4,000 subscribers. Absolutely phenomenal. And more 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross Global videos should be popping up on the screen right about now. Feel free to check them out. But if not, until next time, take care, everyone. This is Salt of the Salty Guild, signing out.